This is Supernatural Selection on DeviantBehaviorRadio.com, hosted by Kevin the Bastard. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first episode of Supernatural Selection. I'm your host, Kevin the Bastard. With me is, please introduce yourself.
David Davis, the not-so-bastard.
Well, that's good, because we can't both be bastards. Awesome. So this is the show that dares to say it wants to believe, but it's probably going to need a lot of proof first. And today I thought I'd open with one that's been very near and dear to my heart lately, which is the Mothman. David, what are you familiar with the old Mothman?
Well, the Mothman, as I refer to him.
Irving Mothman, attorney at law.
Yep. No, I've got a fair amount of like background research I've done on the thing because my wife and I are into like the supernatural and stuff, synchronicities and the whole Men in Black phenomenon and how it's all connected to the Mothman and all that jazz. So it's funny because the Mothman seems like he's I don't want to gender the Mothman, but like it's a nexus for all the other weird paranormal stuff that I love.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's funny how the Mothman I don't know if you've ever read John Keel's book, The Mothman Prophecies.
It's on my shelf. I haven't read it yet. We found a nice copy from, I think, like the late 1970s.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Well, one of the things about it is how the Mothman really gets completely overshadowed by the surrounding phenomenon. The Mothman started it all, but it really kicked off with the UFO sightings and the Men in Black. And the Men in Black, this is really probably their most interesting time during the whole thing. Some of the funnier stories, like one of the Men in Black coming in and a woman distracting him with a ballpoint pen. And him being like, "What is that?" And she's like, "It's a pen. You can have it." And he just like giggles and runs out of the building with it.
Oh, Men in Black stories are fantastic. You can do a whole comic strip about just Men in Black like being flummoxed by day-to-day stuff.
Yes, I know. It's such a great idea. But I just find it really interesting how the Mothman has become this thing. Like, even if the original instances were fake.
Or mistaking something else for being a 6-foot-tall moth person. Yeah,
exactly. It's become its own thing. Like, not to wade too deep into the rushes here, but it's like a tulpa, It's like the collective belief
I was just about to say that. It's very much kind of like chaos magic. You believe in something enough, it kind of becomes reality.
Exactly. And it gets me because, like, there's been sightings of this thing elsewhere now. So it's definitely taken on a life of its own.
Well, I want to address this later, but like whenever I think of the Mothman, I sometimes get it confused for the Jersey Devil, and I wonder if like in some psychic way they're like one and the same. But we can get to that later.
Sure, yeah.
That's one thing that's always been in the back of my mind.
Oh yeah, once we get into talking about the superstructure, this is going to get real interesting.
Oh god, we're going that deep.
Oh, we're going way deep eventually.
Deeper and deeper.
Deeper. Not to steal bits, but... So, for those that don't know, the Mothman basically turned up in, I think it was 65 or 66, in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, scaring two couples, which they were driving around in a car looking for a makeout spot at a disused TNT factory, which, make of that what you will.
It's explosive.
Indeed. And they saw this thing, like a 6-foot-tall shadow person thing with glowing red eyes, and it spread wings out and took off and chased them back into town. Now, there are some people that say that these people were experimenting with acid for the first time. I am not going to say whether I believe that or not, but nonetheless, the cops went out to check. There were more sightings, and they say that it was seen at the Point Pleasant Bridge shortly before it collapsed.
I just feel sorry for the couples who want to go like make out and then their vibe is like crushed by this 6-foot demon from hell.
Oh my god, yeah. I mean, nothing cools your jets more than a hell spawn popping up. in front of the car.
Satan, could you leave us alone for 5 minutes?
But I'm sorry, I'm kind of into watching.
It's definitely a boner kill.
Well, for some people, for others.
Yeah, that's, and that's true. There's probably one dude in the car that's just like, we gotta leave. This is kind of my thing, man.
We'll just roll the windows up and turn off the lights.
Yeah, we'll just sit there. We don't know he's there. He knows we're here. It's kind of sexy. I don't know. John Keel, of course, really blew this thing out of the water with that book, The Mothman Prophecies. Not to be confused with the film, The Mothman Prophecies. The book is amazing. I've read it all the way through. And it is definitely a product of its time, though, because there are parts in this book that read like old dime store detective novels.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, with a lot of those books, like the editorial standard wasn't super high. And a lot of those people, they grew up reading the pulps, like the stuff back in the 30s and 40s, the Robert E. Howard, the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. So that had to have bled into everything they wrote.
Yeah, and there's one thing that really is in there. It's like she's not gonna win any Raquel Welch lookalike contests.
Casual sexism.
Oh, yeah, no, it's great. It's, like I said, definitely a product of its time. I can't help but think that John Keel might have been cruising for something during the entire investigation. I mean, I don't know. It's weird, It's a lot of nights in a car with a secretary in the dark.
Yeah, it sounds like the setup
waiting
to
for
a
UFOs.
Dear Penthouse letter.
Doesn't it? Dear Penthouse, I never thought it would happen to me, but I was looking for a giant red-eyed monster, and let me tell you what I found.
I found the beast with 2 backs.
Yes. So, what's your favorite aspect of the entire Mothman mythos?
It's the interconnectedness of it to other things going on in the world of magic and ufology and all that stuff. Just seeing how all the stuff is connected in some very strange way, like it's all different symptoms of the same disease.
Yeah, it is interesting because you know what? We may as well dive into the whole superstructure thing because the Mothman was like the tip of the iceberg for this entire experience because, like I said, it gets overshadowed because suddenly everybody's seeing UFOs, fleets of them, and other strange creatures appearing. And it's almost like for a little while, Point Pleasant, West Virginia turned into Skinwalker Ranch because
Well, and it's not just Point Pleasant either. It's that whole area, the tri-state area or something like that, where all this weird supernatural crap is happening in the late 60s, early 1970s, and it all just bleeds together.
Yeah, the Flatwoods Monster, which is something I really want to tackle on another episode because he does not get enough coverage. But that was West Virginia, and then there's the Kecksburg crash in Philadelphia,
and the Hopkinsville Goblins, my absolute favorite.
Absolutely, that's one we've got to tackle in a couple of episodes because holy crap, that is one of my favorite UFO cases just because it's there's these people, something happened to these people. They were terrified.
It feels like a movie, dude.
It really does.
Also, if you're not set on the title for your podcast, you can call it 6 Degrees of the Mothman. Just thought about that.
That's fun. I like that. 6 Degrees of Mothman. Starring Kevin Bacon. But
as the moth.
I just think it's interesting. And like you were talking about the possible spiritual relation to the Jersey Devil, my theory is that there's these archetypical beings that bleed into thin places in reality. And they're interpreted differently by different people in different times and different places, just based around what's near them. The term Mothman came from Batman. Batman was popular. 66, 67, Adam West was on television. Everybody started calling him Mothman because it sounded like a Batman villain. So I just think it's interesting they interpreted it as this dark thing, which I realize that's not really in keeping with the whole Adam West series, but still. Well,
here's the thing. He wasn't the monster we needed. He was the monster we deserved.
That's true. You hunt me. You'll condemn me. You'll write books about me. And
Yep.
it's just so interesting how Point Pleasant has managed to take this thing and spin it into an industry now.
Oh God, yes. I love like looking at the touristy nature of Point Pleasant and how it's revolved around this creature, and like it makes me want to go there. I want to go there and I want to buy every single Mothman item I can. Like there's Mothman pizza, Mothman cookies.
Mm-hmm. I'm super excited about it because like if I could go, they have a Mothman Festival every year, and there is a huge pancake buffet.
Because nothing reminds you of the Mothman more than pancakes.
Yeah.
It makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, no, none like silver dollar pancakes to make you think horrifying cryptid that may have destroyed a bridge.
Are they at least red velvet so you can pretend they're Mothman eyes?
Ooh, if they're not, they should be. That sounds great.
They should hire me then.
Oh my god, they really should. Have you heard about the new ritual that has started around the Moth? You know about the big metal Mothman statue?
Yes, the one that looks like a He-Man Masters of the Universe action figure.
It absolutely looks like the Bee Dude from He-Man.
Yep.
And there's this new thing for some reason because the internet, people are leaving cans of baked beans for the statue.
That sounds very much in line with how the internet like does stuff. So
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate that, and when I go, I will bring it.
Please do. The artist and the town are like, please stop. And somebody apparently
What's with all these
recently-
beans?
Well, I can't hold all these beans. Somebody,
He's the Mothman, not the Bean Man.
Mothman loves his beans. The thing is, this is how religions start. I mean,
Mothology.
that's how it happens. It's like, okay, well, we got a statue of a moth. Bring beans for the moth god. And somebody made a big pentagram around the statue out of cans of beans.
Hell yeah.
And I'm just like, this is everything I want the internet to be, right here.
Oh, I had not heard any of this, but now I absolutely am going to be looking it up.
Oh yeah, no, just look up Mothman statue beans. I just found out about it yesterday.
That's a
And-
wonderful, like, wonderfully random Google search string. Mothman statue beans.
Yeah, everybody put that in. It's way tamer than what you're normally putting in your browser. I promise. You know, unless you're looking for Rule 34, I'm not here to judge. We don't kink shame here on deviantbehaviorradio.com.
It's in the title, Deviant Behavior.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the bean thing, I was discussing this with some folks at work the other day, and it's just, this is literally how religions start. Because somebody will be like, oh man, I made it across that bridge safe. Better give the Mothman some beans.
Beans for the Moth God. So, we were talking about John Keel and his book. Now, when was that exactly?
Oh,
Well,
geez.
not exactly.
It was either late 60s, early 70s.
Okay, so in our Mothman timeline, we're still pretty early on here.
Oh yeah, we are still in the, in fact, I'd go as far to say that this is still technically post-bridge collapse.
Okay.
Period. So, it's still fresh on everyone's minds. He was still in communication with a lot of these people. He was still actively researching. So, it's very fresh on everyone's minds. So, if you haven't read the book, definitely check it out. I do kind of want to touch on the movie because I saw the movie and it's awful. It's got like nothing to do with anything. It's just Richard Gere playing someone that is not John Keel, and
Well, no one can play John Keel. John
No.
Keel is a unicorn. He's a species all of his own, and like it's impossible to justify or like to make that happen on the screen.
yeah, if you've seen a picture of the man, he really does look like the sexiest psychiatrist you're ever gonna meet.
Dr. Peter Venkman?
Okay, not quite that sexy, but like, you know, he's got like the Van Dyke and the rim of hair, and he's bald, and he just has that look like an illustration from like an old 60s edition of Clue, maybe.
Or maybe like a Playboy cartoon.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, you got the psychiatrist, and you got the blonde on the little reclining chair naked, that sort of thing.
Yeah, basically sitting there going, I think perhaps you should remove your panties. Yeah, that's John Keel in a nutshell.
Man,
Except,
if I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd have at least $3.
Really?
Long story.
Such an interesting life, David.
Yep. It's got its charms.
Yeah, see, I've had people offer me money to keep my clothes on, but that's a completely different thing.
Oh. So I do have a question for you.
Absolutely.
So we start seeing the Mothman in the mid to late 1960s. Mm-hmm. How long is the active period of continuous sightings? When do we start seeing the Mothman kind of disappear, I guess?
Around the 70s. It around the time the book came out, it really slowed down more. And it didn't, there were scattered sightings every now and again still in that whole tri-state area, But nothing, there was no bridge collapse, there's no big mania over it. It's I think I saw the Mothman. I think you're on meth.
So what you're telling me is that John Keel did.
John, oh my God. I want to harm you, and I can't. Because we have to finish the show. But he did keel his lead. But what's interesting to me is the more recent sightings.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's go into that for a second. There were sightings in Russia in the 80s.
Okay, that was not something that I expected.
I know, because it was a small town called Chernobyl.
Oh, I think I've heard of that place.
Yeah, you might have. They had a little amusement park for kids. Nothing else happened there, just the Mothman. No major nuclear disasters. Everything's fine in Chernobyl. The deers have the correct number of eyes.
You can get cancer from looking at it through a pair of binoculars. It's wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. Go see the famous elephant foot. It's fantastic. Bring the kids.
It's just one elephant foot. No one knows how it got there. No one knows why it's still moving around.
It's got a umbrella sticking out of the top of it.
Everybody's wondering, where's the rest of the elephant?
Meanwhile, there's this elephant walking along somewhere in Asia that it's like my foot's still there. But he showed up before the nuclear disaster, weeks leading up to it.
So what is this like when you say he showed up? Was it just hey guys, keep an eye on the reactor there? Or what was it when you say he showed up?
Similar sightings to what happened in Point Pleasant. People driving at night, seeing this
trying to make
large shape with the red eyes, and police going out to investigate, and nothing coming of it. And then the nuclear reactor happened, and then everyone starts going, hey, didn't that moth guy show up before a bridge collapse?
Do you think the KGB has a file on the Mothman?
Man,
or had a file on the Mothman?
I think they did. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Yeah, because you mentioned Russian police, I'm oh, okay, they probably got bumped up to the KGB, and now I'm just picturing Vladimir Putin out there trying to wrestle the Mothman down to the ground.
He's gonna ride it like a bear.
That's our Putin.
You stay down, let me ride you.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that, I'd actually have about $10.
There you go.
Yeah.
With that same inflection and everything.
Yes. It's always a older Russian man. Don't go to the train yards, kids. Apparently there was also sightings before a couple other disasters in Russia. I hate to say this, but my research is a little lax on that one. I saw a reference to it earlier, and I have lost it.
You mean the Mothman isn't a super well-documented phenomenon?
I know! It's shocking! He's got at least a couple of books. You'd think I'd have more access to this information.
But how many of them are in his own words?
Oh, none. We definitely need Mothman in his own words.
Mothman, Guiding Light. Oprah's book selection of the month.
With a foreword by Woody Allen.
God. Oh no.
I don't know why Woody Allen just popped into my head there, but that's now a thing.
The Mothman was a. I can't do Woody Allen. I can't even try that. So.
Oh, Sun Yi. Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh God. And then there's the ones from this year.
Ooh. Like 2021 or 2020?
2020 and 2021. Last year. And this is why I'm not gonna fly. He's been spotted at O'Hare Airport.
Oh, Jesus.
In Chicago.
Oh, no.
Like, a lot of them. And we're talking, like, security guards going... And it's, like, these Hispanic guys that were there like, oh, my God, look, it's the Big Bird. And
no es bueno.
No es bueno. No es bueno indeed. And, there was a sighting, I believe, according to my sources, last week.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, like, for the past year, there have been sightings of the same dark shape with glowing red eyes.
Okay, so here's my question for you. Presumably everybody at this airport has a cell phone, and these cell phones have cameras in them.
Yes.
Have there been any pictures?
There have been no pictures. There is more documentation of the jetpack dude than there is of the Mothman.
One of my favorite cryptids, the jetpack dude.
Yes. And I'm so mad about that. Because it's like, you got this? We got Bigfoot, we got the Mothman, we got friggin' Champ the lake monster, but y'all can't get photos of that. You got the jetpack dude.
Well, and especially at an airport, because you would think with, big airplanes, there would be, like, a ton of security video out there and everything like that. So, I guess my question for you then is, like, why is there always this lack of pictorial evidence?
My guess, this time, with the current situation, like the 80s, okay, yeah, it's Russia. It's like a take picture with potato is not work. I don't understand. And then,
man, your Russian listeners are gonna be so pissed off.
We actually have some Austrian listeners, so I do have to be careful.
So don't badmouth chocolate then.
Yeah, no kidding. We have got a shocking number of people listening in Austria, so hello Austria. But my guess is the reason there's no photos is it's the time of COVID, so there weren't that many people at the airport, I'm guessing?
How convenient.
I know.
Well, I guess I have kind of a theory with that as well, because if this kind of extends into other theories, but if the Mothman is part of some larger kind of psychic phenomenon, it would make me wonder if that perhaps maybe this phenomenon, like, prevents people from taking photos. Like, it just kind of, like, slips it out of their minds or whatever.
No, I totally get that, because also we're talking about something that if it is a psychic phenomenon and we're completing a circuit of the experience, there may not be anything to take a photo of.
Right, it could just be some mass hallucination.
Or some kind of, like, mass... Okay, you've read H.P. Lovecraft. You remember when he, I think it's in Whisperer in the Darkness, he tried to take photos of the Migo, and they didn't take? Maybe it's like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. But it amuses me that, like, here we are in the year of 2021 and just no photographs, even though everybody has a camera. So, thanks, COVID.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I really think we need, like, a World Star Hip-Hop, but for cryptids, not street folks.
Oh, man. Or just make a category on World Star. That way, every time you get a photo of Bigfoot, you shout, World Star!
Yeah, no, I'd be all over that, dude. That would be awesome. I'm down.
So, to be a little more skeptical, because you have to have someone who poo-poos on the parade then.
Please do, because, like I said, I want to believe, but, like, I really have to be careful if I'm going to believe.
They don't make it easy to believe, that's for sure.
They really don't.
Yeah. So, what are some of the, I don't want to say excuses, but what are some of the reasonings people have for these sightings? Like, are they animals? Are they pranks?
There is a very large bird like a very large crane in the West Virginia area that when it lands, it has like a huge wingspan and it keeps its head ducked down, and they're saying it could be like, you know, the light reflecting on the inner eye like happens to a lot of animals.
Yeah, like when I look at my cat at like 4 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly, and you poop your pants. That's one theory about what they're seeing, or barn owls.
Okay, I could see those. I'd also there's so many dumb documentaries on this crap, but there's one that theorized that it could be some sort of mutation to an animal because of chemicals from that dynamite storage facility.
Also a very good point. I'm glad you brought up the dynamite plant, because the chemicals from the dynamite plant have been seeping into the groundwater table and the city's water supply, meaning these people may just have chemical poisoning and be hallucinating from nitroglycerin.
Well, I certainly hope no one gets into a fist fight there, because he punched somebody and then they'll explode.
Oh my god, it'd be like crashing a Pinto. I know.
So, were there any other theories about what this thing could have been?
Well, there's always the hoax.
Now, why would someone make something up like this?
Well, you know, hypothetically speaking, let's say you're the kind of person that likes to, like, pull pranks, and you know that these two couples are going to go driving out to the TNT plant where there's no one around to make out, which is still just a creepy idea. Hey, man.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah, let's all go make out in the same car. Maybe we can swap up.
Is it any creepier than the guy who knows about this and follows them?
Nothing about this situation isn't creepy. So imagine for a second the guy and let's, you know, not even bringing up the possibly they did acid for the first time thing. Okay, we're just not even thinking about that. Let's say, hypothetically, somebody were to, I don't know, put on a gorilla suit with some bike reflectors over the eyes and have a Dracula cape in the dark.
That sounds extremely plausible.
Doesn't it, though?
Oh,
Bunch of high school kids just going to freak each other out, and then it takes off, and you're like, hey, maybe I can keep this going.
Say nothing.
Say nothing! Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I knew someone from Point Pleasant.
Oh.
A couple of years ago, I was working with a gentleman who lived and grew up in Point Pleasant and was knee-deep in the paranormal, loved the Mothman Festival, all that fun stuff. And he told me what he believes is the truth. And the thing is, I can't bring myself to tell the truth. There's two reasons. Number one, if it were a fake thing, you know, like, wouldn't that destroy Point Pleasant's tourist industry?
I don't know about that. I think they'd be content to ignore it because people prefer the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even if it's like, they can just always say, well, that's a theory. That's a theory, and then, you know. So I don't know about that.
Yeah. Well, still, I don't want to, like, poop on anybody's good time.
Oh, yeah, no, I understand.
And the other thing, and this is the more important reasoning in my head, is it doesn't matter at this point. It's already built up. The truth is not going to change anything for the better. So, why not just let it be? And besides, like I said, even if it were to have been like a dude in a suit, he's not the guy that showed up at Chernobyl. He's not the guy flying around O'Hare Airport right now, freaking people out.
Do you think it's the jetpack guy? You think sometimes he has the jetpack and then he puts a cape on?
I don't know. Maybe it is like a 110-year-old man with a jetpack and a Dracula cape.
Gotta admire his commitment.
Yeah, just, well, I'm still alive. I'm gonna go make some people shit the pants.
I'm gonna be on the internet.
There's nothing better than anonymous fame. So we have been going here for about half an hour, and to be honest, I think we've kind of covered everything we can about the Mothman. Can you think of anything else?
Well, I think as we do further explorations, we'll kind of see how he links up to other things, other subjects as well. Because there's that whole, like, weird triangle of oddness down there in the
Absolutely.
southeastern, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm looking at my list of topics coming up in the future. And I would love to do 2 of these with you for sure. The Hopkinsville Goblins. Because, man, you and me both, that's one of my favorites. And,
well, I wanted to do that, write that story with you about that.
Yes, the one, yeah. You said something about like a pickled arm in a jar, I think.
it was just like a siege movie.
Yeah. It's like the worm in tequila. You can drink it, but you gotta kiss that arm. And
I'm throwing that in the script now.
oh, please do.
You gotta kiss the arm.
And the third one, in this series at least, is going to be the Flatwoods Monster, like I said earlier, which is, I mean, you got to respect any monster that shows up wearing a muumuu.
I don't know if respect is the word you're looking for. Maybe pity.
No, man. No, I respect him. He's in touch with his sexuality. He came down to Earth and was like, yo, look at my muumuu. You just got a deal. I don't know why they all end up sounding like the pervert guy from Family Guy, but, you know, here we are.
Yep. It's a fun voice.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it creeps people out when I do it at work, but...
Well, don't do it at work. Okay, so one question, since we're talking about voices and stuff, what does a Mothman call sound like?
The Mothman call?
Yeah. What do they have, like, any descriptions of, like, how it sounds? Can you maybe make that sound?
No, it didn't. I've never read anything about how it sounds, but I kind of imagine it would be sort of a low...
See, I would go the opposite way. I would go with something higher pitched, like... something like that.
So, literally, the Mothman lands on top of your car, looks at you, and goes, sure do miss my paper boy.
Oh, man, that's terrifying.
I know, isn't it, though? That's why I don't have any friends at work.
You want a popsicle?
Oh, my God, we're going to hell. So, some other topics coming up in future episodes, as I said, are the Hopkinsville Goblins, Flatwoods Monster. I'd like to do a series on ghosts of the world, like those freaky Asian head ghosts that come apart and drag their intestines behind them.
Oh, yeah.
The Philadelphia Experiment.
Ooh.
And Inunaki Village, which I'd never heard of this until someone suggested it to me. Are you familiar with it at all?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Okay, well, you know what? We're both going to have to look into that, because that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, maybe I'll do research on the next one.
Sure, that'd be great. You can bring one to the table. In fact, you know what?
Yeah, because I've been flying blind this whole
yes. Flying blind as a Mothman, flying straight into a light bulb. I'll tell you what, why don't you tackle the Hopkinsville Goblins?
Oh, hell yeah. That sounds good.
That'll be fun. And what I'm going to do with Mike is internet weirdos, for lack of a better term.
So it's going to be about you and Mike then?
No, it's going to be about people like John Titor.
Oh, time travel and Titor.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, there's going to be some fun stuff with that. So that's what you can look forward to in future installments of the show. So, David, thank you so much for coming on this inaugural episode with me. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on. This is a lot of fun. I love just talking about this weird stuff. You and I talk about it all the time anyway, so it's nice to commit it to the ether.
Yes. I'm just happy we're able to talk about this stuff and not annoy people in the same room. So
Exactly.
Yes. So, that is it for this episode of Supernatural Selection. Tune in next time, and we'll see you then. Supernatural Selection is a production of DeviantBehaviorRadio.com. Our theme music is Screensaver by Kevin MacLeod and can be found royalty-free at incompetech.filmmusic.io. You can reach Kevin on Twitter at CodaOTan and David at HPKOMIC.